Chapter 3. Online Mainstreaming Gender in Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation. A 2016 technical paper from the United Nations Framework Secretariat of the Climate Change Convention, UNFCCC, defines gender mainstreaming within the framework of the Convention, according to the 1997 UN definition of the term. Report of the Economic and Social Council, ECOSO, see as the process of assessing the implications for women and men of any planned action, including legislation, policies, or programs in all areas and at all levels. It is a strategy to make women's and men's concerns more relevant to the concerns of women and men, and experiences an integral dimension of design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of policies and programs in all political, economic and social spheres for women and men to benefit. Equally, an inequality to be eliminated, not perpetrated. The ultimate goal is to achieve gender equality. Why is gender mainstreaming important? In order to build effective responses to climate change, we need to understand how gender inequality affects multiple issues: access to and control of resources, institutional structures, social, cultural and formal networks, and decision-making processes. Therefore, gender mainstreaming is essential as it helps to achieve the following. Climate policy and action is appropriate to the local context, addressing different perspectives, roles, rights, needs, priorities and interests of men and women, as well as the stakeholders. Climate approaches will be more efficient, effective, sensitive, and provide greater benefits. Equal access to opportunities, resources, and decision-making, and benefits of climate action and responses. Empowering women where there are distribution gaps of power, resources, services, participation, empowerment, institutional and socio-cultural barriers for women commitment. The knowledge, concerns and experience is taken into account. Complying with the UN's moral and legal obligations and its conventions, including the UN Declaration on Human Rights and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW. Gender mainstreaming is also important for designing and implementing policies, programs and projects that lead to greater equity and equality, that can contribute to the development of greater adaptive capacity and mitigate climate change, to the extent that it provides a clearer vision and a fuller picture of the relationships that people have built relationships with the ecosystems. In development discussions, the gender approach to development strives to analyze and understand the different roles and responsibilities of men and women, the scope and quality of their participation in decision-making, and their needs and viewpoints. 3.1. Digitalization and gender gap. As a space for learning, leisure, and access to information, the Internet plays a fundamental role in shaping our conception of the world, our opinions, and our values. The gender stereotypes that exist in the offline environment, which are at the root of inequality between men and women and the source of gender-based violence, are also present in the online world. Young people are in the process of forming their opinions and attitudes about norms and acceptable behavior, and also about sexuality. Their attitudes towards women and men, their present and future behavior and roles, are being strongly influenced by content on the Internet. Certain online services and easily accessible violent and sexist material can also put them at risk. The challenge is how to protect their full enjoyment of the right to freedom of expression and access to information in online environments, while preventing the harmful effects of harmful gender-related content. This is indispensable for achieving de facto equality between men and women. On the Internet, individuals, especially young women, can be exposed to risks such as surveillance, harassment, stalking, impersonation, and manipulation, which are also linked to offline consequences such as private and professional persecution, defamation, or bodily harm. Mobile phone tracking is considered a useful innovation. However, it is often used for stalking. Being aware of how people think about gender, including stereotypes, and how discrimination and gender roles harm people, can help in understanding how Internet content of a sexual and violent nature can lead to violence and discrimination against women. 3.2. Climate change in online dissemination and youth work. The Internet consumes a lot of electricity, 416.2 per year to be precise. To give you some perspective, that's more than the entire United Kingdom. It may come as a surprise that the Internet is the largest coal-fired machine on Earth, and it is estimated that Internet-connected technologies will consume around 20% of the total electricity produced by 2025. This is why we include here 10 practical and easy ways to make your online youth work more sustainable. 1. Consider turning off your camera during video conferences. Having your camera on during video calls can be valuable at times. However, in large groups or while someone else is presenting, consider turning off your camera to save energy. Turning your camera off during video calls could reduce the environmental impact of the call by up to 96%. 2. Change your video resolution settings. Reducing video resolution is a good option if you want to leave your video on, but still reduce your energy consumption. Streaming videos in standard definition rather than high definition may result in an 86% reduction. 3. Lower your screen's brightness. Reducing the brightness on your laptop or monitor while you work can also save energy. Research by Eric Potkin from Harvard Law School found that reducing your computer monitor brightness from 100% to 70% can save up to 20% of the energy the monitor uses. 4. Prioritize asynchronous communication. Asynchronous communication can often be more energy efficient than synchronous communication. 5. Turn off your work devices at the end of the day. It is important to turn off your devices when you are finished using them. Leaving your devices on overnight uses unnecessary energy and impacts the environment. Unplugging your devices is also a good practice. Leaving devices plugged in can increase your energy consumption and electricity bill. The United States Department of Energy reports that homeowners can save anywhere between $100 and $200 each year by unplugging devices not in use. 6. Listen to music with standard audio quality. Many people like to listen to music while working remotely. It can be nice to have background music while focusing on individual work. However, streaming music in high quality for long periods of time can consume a lot of energy. Choosing a lower audio quality level in your streaming services settings can reduce energy consumption. Here are some statistics from an article by Jerry Hildenbrand. Low quality is typically 96 kbps. Low quality audio streaming uses 0.72 per minute or 43.2 per hour. Normal quality is typically 160 kbps. Normal quality music streaming uses 1.20 per minute or 72 MB per hour on average. High quality music is typically 320 kbps. High quality streaming music uses 2.14 per minute or 115.2 per hour on average. For example, to change your audio quality default in Spotify, visit your settings and select normal from the streaming quality and download drop-downs. 7. Take advantage of daylight. If your workspace contains a window, consider placing your desk where it will receive lots of natural light. By taking advantage of daylight, you can reduce the amount of artificial light you need. Additionally, sunlight can naturally warm your house, reducing the amount of heat you need to use during the winter. 8. Switch to LED lights. If you have a large workspace, using a desk lamp can be more sustainable than relying on overhead fixtures to light the entire room. You should also opt for LED light bulbs when possible. LED light bulbs are more energy efficient and last longer than incandescent or fluorescent bulbs. 9. Use energy-efficient kitchen appliances. If you cook your lunches from home, think about investing in energy-efficient kitchen appliances. Using a slow cooker, toaster oven, or microwave instead of an oven to heat your lunch is another way to save energy. 10. Shop sustainably. If you need to shop online, consider purchasing second-hand products or those that are produced and distributed in a sustainable way when possible. 3.3. Fighting online gender gap and online climate change negationism with youth. Women's Rights Online, WRO, is a research and advocacy network that aims to drive women's empowerment through the web. The network is an initiative of the Web Foundation and currently comprises women's rights and digital rights groups across 14 developing countries across Africa, Asia and Latin America, working to bridge the gender gap in technology, data, and policy making. They are calling on countries to REACT, that is, to focus on rights, education, access, content, and targets to close the gender digital divide. The WRO explains the REACT strategy in the following way. Rights. Protect and enhance everyone's rights online. The web can't serve as an empowering space unless we know everyone's rights will be protected online. We must ensure the web is a safe space for women and protect fundamental rights such as freedom of speech and privacy, and that policy, legislative, and regulatory processes uphold digital rights. Education. Use education to equip everyone, especially women, with the skills they need to access and use the web effectively. The research shows that education is the most powerful tool we have to close this gap. We must include digital skills in primary and secondary school curricula in every country around the world, especially targeted at girls. We must also take steps to eradicate the gender gap in access to higher and tertiary education by ensuring that women have equal access to tertiary education opportunities. Access. Deliver affordable or free access to an open web. Affordability remains a major obstacle to universal internet access across the globe. Women, on average, earn less than men, resulting in a higher real cost to connect. Countries must adopt and work towards a more ambitious one for 2 affordability target of 1 GB of data monthly for less than 2% of monthly income. Public access programs that offer free or subsidized ways to connect in public spaces will enable those that still might not be able to afford a connection, even once prices have reduced, to come online. Content. Ensure relevant and empowering content for women is available and used. Unless content on the web is valuable and empowering, people simply won't use it. Governments can play an important role here, both by delivering vital services online and ensuring important content is available in local languages. As content and service delivery providers, governments must ensure that critical government content relevant to women, including information on sexual and reproductive health, legal rights, and digital financial services, is readily available online in local languages. Targets. Set and measure concrete gender equity targets. Every country in the world shall update their connectivity targets as mandated by the SDGs, including clearly laying out how they will close the gender gap, and for data on progress towards these targets to be regularly published in open formats so that everyone can keep tabs on progress and look for creative solutions. On the other hand, the Association for Progressive Communication proposed the below 10 tips for the gender and internet-based harassment of women and girls. 10 ideas for counteracting internet-based gender discrimination and online harassment against women and girls. 1. If you intend to be anonymous, stay anonymous. In the online world, the mere desire of remaining anonymous is not enough to keep your identity safe and hidden. Think twice about the way you share information and whom you share it with. Log out of your accounts. Protect and keep a score of your online account's passwords. 2. If you don't want comments, there is probably an option to disable them. Hate speech is annoying, but sometimes you can simply turn it off. Turning off comments is not cowardice. It can give you peace of mind and the time needed to come to terms with whatever you have to share with the world. 3. Don't be afraid to face those who try to discourage you. Even when it gets tough, it is important to remember there is always an audience, the other internet users. 4. Don't bother to reply and get into an argument if you do not feel like it. Insulting the person who insulted you will only wear off the difference between the aggressor and you. Let the haters talk by themselves, and the public will get the message. 5. Expose the abuse. You can, however, publish the hateful remarks and even reveal the identity of the persons who made them. You can always contact the media or ask other bloggers to write about it. You can even start a new online campaign, collecting misogynist remarks from several women activists and putting them together in a book of shame. 6. Don't rely on words only, especially if you are the target of verbal attacks. If they spam you with ugly words, look for creative ways to respond. Draw, sing, dance, or take it back to the offline world with a symbolic flash mob or happening. It takes different skills to combat hate, so dare to be imaginative and stand out. 7. Keep your sense of humor when emotionally possible. The unequal power relationship tends to block the victim into an emotional situation where she is no longer allowed to express humor, because she is the one being mocked. Nevertheless, you can be the first to use humor and confident self-irony. New artsy apps and software can help you put together collages, caricatures, manga, or digital photos in order to express a whole range of situations from absurd to paradoxical. 8. Remember the 99% who are not online. If you are spammed, remember all those persons who think alike you and would support your cause if they had access to the internet. The online world is but a small fragment of reality. Only real-world action can lead to lasting changes. 9. Don't hesitate to meet your supporters in person. Alliance building cannot and should not be only web-based. Face-to-face meetings make a community stronger and might give you the chance to share effective online activism strategies. 10. Real-life stories move the virtual world. Do not be afraid of showing who you are if this is what you desire. Look for support if you need it, And if the burden gets too heavy, especially the professional one, if you feel stuck and unable to deal with the situation, share how you feel, talk it out. 3.4. Remote youth work and online environmental change education, successful tools and strategies. Ecosia. Ecosia is a search engine based in Berlin, Germany. Ecosia considers itself a social business, claiming to be CO2 negative, supporting full financial transparency, and protecting the privacy of its users. Ecosia is B-Lab certified, meeting its standards of accountability, sustainability, and performance. As of March 2023, the company claims to have planted more than 173 million trees since its inception and planting a tree every 1.3 seconds. Beautiful Trouble. Beautiful Trouble is an online toolbox and creative campaign incubator. An international network of artist activist trainers helping grassroots movements become more creative and effective. Website Carbon. Website Carbon is a simple tool that shows the website's CO2 emissions compared to others and whether the site is hosted green. This website, Carbon Calculator, has been created by Wholegrain Digital to help inspire and educate people to create a zero-carbon internet. It is hosted using renewable energy. EcoGrader. EcoGrader is another tool that allows you to analyze websites. It also gives you detailed advice on how to make the site greener. EcoGrader helped us understand the environmental impact of our website and provided a clear roadmap to build a better site that's both people and planet-friendly. Sharon Miller, Director, Digital Experience and Analysis, DePaul University. Miro. Miro helps to switch from paper post-its to digital ones. It is the online collaborative whiteboard platform that enables distributed teams to work together effectively, from brainstorming with digital sticky notes to planning and managing agile workflows. Mural. Mural is another workspace for visual collaboration and reduction of real-life post-its and paper trash. It levels the playing field during meetings by accommodating different types of collaborators and thinkers and allowing everyone's voice to be heard. Mural enhances our ability to create a safe space for people to collaborate and contribute, whether they're introverted or extroverted, in person or remote. Meetings are more engaging and inclusive, and ultimately, diverse perspectives lead to more innovative, impactful solutions. Mattermost. Mattermost is an open-source messaging tool that serves as a great alternative to Slack, Microsoft Teams, and others. Plus, it comes with great data security. The platform is open source, which means that this software is multi-device and suitable for organizing team chats through custom channels. Another advantage it presents is that it can be integrated with other apps and plugins from external systems such as GenerA, Trello, GitLab, etc., and also with social networks. CryptDrive. CryptDrive is used to store and manage documents. It is a collaboration suite that is end-to-end, encrypted and open source. Because all data is encrypted, the service and its administrators have no way of seeing the content being edited and stored. Deploy on any cloud or on-premise. Scalable and very secure. Video conferencing with Fair Meeting. Video chat with Jitsi on the basis of the Fair Meeting servers. This way, it is green and your data is secure. Uses encrypted video conferencing solutions made from 100% open source software. Their servers are operated in the EU with green energy. Video conferencing with Big Blue Button. For bigger video conferences, it is better to go with Big Blue Button in combination of Fair Teaching as hoster. The goal of this virtual classroom is not to meet, it is to learn. Big Blue Button gives you built-in tools for applied learning, live analytics to see who is struggling, and an interface designed to save you time during your class so you have more time to help youth through their learning journey. Big Blue Button is also backed by a worldwide community of open-source developers. Caching. Caching is a strategy that temporarily saves your website as a static page and thus reduces a lot of data and code. Use, for example, W3 Total Cache or Hummingbird as WordPress caching plugin and achieve better results in performance and data load. Optimizing fonts. Optimizing used fonts with Font Squirrel or Everything Fonts is another useful strategy. Unused characters are removed from the font sets, thus reducing the size many times over. You can find more information on this topic in the Mighty Bytes article about fonts. 3.5. Case Studies. Brazil. Bike Anjo is an online platform promoting safe and secure riders who can teach and bike alongside beginners. Bike Anjo is one of its projects, focusing on women learning to bike in São Paulo. The city road planning, intense row of cars and reckless drivers, impose several barriers to beginner cyclists, especially women who also experience street harassment. Volunteers, through monthly workshops, teach beginners to pedal, traffic rules, signaling and precautions. 90% of the participants are women. There are also 2 comfort workshops, encouraging women to use bicycles as their main mode of transportation, training them on basic mechanics, intimate hygiene and dressing tips, etc. Climate impact. According to the Institute of Energy and Environment, automobiles account for 72.6% of greenhouse gas (GHG) emissions in São Paulo. The average car in São Paulo produces 26,136 kg of CO2 monthly. Bike Anjo hopes that the biking women will become multiplying agents by encouraging other women to start cycling, reducing the amount of cars on the streets, thus reducing guys in the city. They also hope that the project will push the local authorities to prioritize bicycle infrastructure. Gender impact. The project supports the autonomy of women by contributing to their daily economy, reducing their transportation costs, health and agility, as well as security in the city streets. This action also promotes women cyclists' active contribution to climate mitigation. The events are promoted on social networks and at different city locations to make it more available to other women. Meeting venues are close to subway or train stations to guarantee accessibility. Doing the Donut.Tech. Doing the Donut.Tech use the excellent donut economics framework as a vehicle to generate these discussions and understanding with the digital tech sector. As the creators of this workshop tell themselves, when sustainability is discussed within the digital tech industry, the conversation often revolves around electricity use. Typically, how can we reduce electrical consumption in data centers or on end-user devices, and how can we decarbonize it? This is great progress, but the industry is in danger of overlooking the big, more difficult questions. Questions like, what exactly are those paradigms, systems, and root causes that have got us into a rapidly warming climate? And how has this industry been culpable? And how does it continue to be culpable? What do we need to change? It's easy to get tunnel vision and focus on a particular one of the possible subjects, in my case, lowering the carbon of websites and reducing data usage. But there is so much more to digital sustainability in tech. Nick Lewis, founder of the Sustainable.dev on Donut. In 2022, they facilitated pilot workshops to explore the donut economics model in relation to the digital tech sector. They invited people working in various roles in and around the tech sector, and already interested in digital sustainability in some regard, to come together and discuss these questions. What would it mean for the digital tech workforce to thrive? What would it mean for the digital tech industry to respect the well-being of people worldwide? What would it mean for the digital tech industry to respect the health of the whole planet? They see 2 clear audiences who will benefit from the existing workshop and from development of further workshop formats: tech companies, not-for-profit civic tech organizations. In summary, according to the Donut.Tech, there were 4 common tech strategies that stood out as things that should shift if the digital tech industry is serious about becoming more sustainable. Stop the relentless consumption/depletion of resources. Attention-based revenue is driving the wrong behaviors. Pointless and endless growth is getting us nowhere. The exponential growth bubble needs to burst. Build things that last and can be reused. The strategy of planned obsolescence only serves shareholders and not society. Detoxified tech culture. Replace it with fairness, inclusion, and better ways of working. This philosophy is based, as said before, on the donut economy model, usually pictured as a 2-ring donut. Donut economics thus describes the economy as an outer ring of 9 planetary boundaries, the Earth's natural limits for sustainable life, an inner ring of 12 social foundations, representing human life's essentials. The sweet spot is the space in which we must all live to stay within the planet's natural limits, and to ensure all humans not just survive, but thrive. The zone of not taking too much and not sharing too little. The zone in which we all must live if we are all not just to survive, but to be joyful in doing so. Exemplary woman in the field of climate action, Kate Raworth. Kate Raworth, English economist, who teaches as a senior visiting research associate at the Institute for Environmental Change at the University of Oxford, and is a senior associate at the Cambridge Sustainability Leadership Institute. She is also the author of one of the most famous economic concepts in recent years, donut economics, in which she shows how to meet human needs, taking into account the possibilities of our planet and which we have just described earlier. Kate Raworth is also one of the scientists supporting most recent and avant-garde climate movements, such as Extinction Rebellion and the Scientists' Rebellion. Here, you can access a video where the co-founder of Extinction Rebellion, Dr. Gail Bradbrook, another great woman in the climate emergency movement, is in conversation with Kate Raworth. And here she speaks at the 2021 Impossible Rebellion event in the United Kingdom on the importance of solidarity in the face of the climate collapse. Did you know? The Scientist Rebellion climate action movement uses in its logo the blue and red stripes. What are they? These warming stripe graphics are visual representations of the change in temperature as measured in each country, region or city over the past 100+ years. Each stripe or bar represents the temperature in that country, region or city averaged over a year. The stripes typically start around the year 19 and finish in 2022, but for many countries, regions and cities, the stripes start in the 19th century or sometimes even the 18th century. The graphics have a CC by 4.0 license, so can be used for any purpose as long as credit is given to Professor Ed Hawkins, University of Reading, and a link is provided to this website. While the climate warming stripes were created by Professor Ed Hawkins at the University of Reading in 2018, as the climate change has been found to get up to 8 times more coverage than biodiversity loss, Professor Miles Richardson at Finding Nature from the University of Derby created the biodiversity stripes in August 2022 and set up biodiversitystripes.info. Only by addressing both the warming climate and loss of wildlife do we stand a chance of passing on a stable planet for future generations. The biodiversity stripes provide a visual representation of the change in biodiversity over time, often since 1970. The highest level of biodiversity is colored bright green. Lower levels move through yellow to gray, depending upon the level of decline. Darker grays appear with greater declines. Ecocentric versus egocentric, or anthropocentric. The original stripes use data from the Living Planet Index. This data tells us that the population of mammals, birds, fish, amphibians and reptiles has seen an average drop of 69% globally since 1970. The global data includes over 30,000 populations of over 5,000 species. We are in a spiraling breakdown, as when biodiversity decreases, so does our relationship with nature, a failing relationship that the UN recognizes as the root cause of the environmental crises. Find out more about the human relationship with the rest of nature and how to improve it in the Nature Connection Handbook, Finding Nature blog and the book Reconnection, Fixing Our Broken Relationship with Nature. Exemplary woman in the field of climate action, Donna Haraway. Donna Haraway is a biologist, graduated from the University of Yale, and one of the most disruptive thinkers of today, who achieved great worldwide recognition in the mid-80s of the last century with her innovative approaches to feminism. At a time when women achieved the long-awaited gender equality with respect to men, this author and university professor, specializing in topics as diverse as history, feminism, technology, science, and animals, proposed a new perspective on the sexist struggle. She also contributes to the debates on modern digitalization and maps of how information technology linked people around the world into new chains of affiliation, exploitation, and solidarity. Haraway doesn't like the term for the times we live in either. Coined in the early 1980s by University of Michigan ecologist Eugene Stormer, the notion of the Anthropocene designates evidence of the transformative effects of human activities on Earth. It gained relevance in the year 2000 when Nobel Prize winner Paul Crutzen postulated that the time had come to name the new geological era with it. Haraway makes his objections explicit and prefers to call it the Capitolocene, since it is the entire current economic paradigm that configures the threat to ecological stability. But she goes further and proposes a name for another place and another time that was, still is, and could come to be. She calls it Tulucene. In this world, human beings are not the only important actors, since what Haraway proposes is a tentacular network, a symbiotic system generated with others, not built alone. We need each other in collaborations and unexpected combinations, in hot compost heaps. We become reciprocally, or we don't become at all. Practical exercise for young people 6. Facts and opinions. Objectives. 1. To distinguish between fact and opinion. Time, 20-30 minutes. Materials. Different colored paper with fact written on one and opinion on the other. Enough for each participant to have their own set. Facilitator's notes. 1. The facilitator leads a discussion about what is fact and what is opinion and hands out the papers with fact and opinion written on them. 2. The facilitator reads out statements, and participants have to raise the sign of fact or opinion, depending on which one they think it is. Participants should discuss why they have chosen fact or opinion and are allowed to change their minds if someone convinces them. Sample statements. Bananas have curves. Bananas taste good. Female teachers are nicer than male teachers. Red is a color. Boys like blue. Women give birth. Women are better cooks than men. Boys like rough play. Practical exercise for young people. 7. Stereotypes in action. Objectives. 1. To uncover gender and cultural stereotypes in media. 2. To discuss the ways that these stereotypes impact our perceptions of gender and culture. Time, 30 minutes. Materials, scrap paper. Facilitator's notes. 1. The facilitator reads a short scene from a play or a movie or constructs one themselves. Sample. In a welding classroom, the teacher asks students to work in teams of 3 or 4 and then instructs the boys to help the girls with the project. 2. The students are asked in small groups to point out the stereotypes in the situation described. 3. Discussion questions could include: have you ever been in a similar situation? Is it possible to not have stereotypes? How could the story be told differently to not include any stereotypes?